Hare Krishna. Dandas Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
And okay, we'll make a start, and hopefully some more people will join in a few minutes. And just want to say it's my pleasure and privilege to welcome you
Thank you.
to this program. And I've been looking forward to this for a while. And let's make the introduction. It's recorded anyway, so people can hear later on as well. Those of you, I'm sure you already know Haridas Prabhu, what a charismatic personality he is, and he's told us that he's been in the movement since 1975, which makes it the golden anniversary this year. So congratulations.
Really?
Yeah. And so disciple of His Holiness Krishna Das Maharaj. And so serving Srila Prabhupada's mission for the last 50 years is an amazing achievement. You were the founder of Iskcon Coventry and the temple president for a long time, as well as the GBC deputy. So amazing vision and responsibility you've had. And now you are serving in the temple, and we all look up to you and learn from you, take your association, and you are guiding us with your so many years of experience. So thank you. Pass on to you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, and thank you for including me in this session. I always love this service because none of us are scholarly. So we try to read and then we share. So today I'll be sharing what I've learned, and it's an incredible chapter. I think we start off by Jai Radha Madhav.
Please.
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayo Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Guru Maharaj Jaya Guru Maharaj Guru Maharaj Patite Pavan Taigora Haribol 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 Taigora Haribol 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 Radha Madhava ki Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So it's so wonderful to be on this lovely Zoom. And it's my first one, so I did put it on the announcements. And some of them said, oh, I didn't know you were speaking tonight, even though it's on the announcements. So it looks like how many people don't read the announcements. So we'll just go ahead. I think it'll get popular. I'll tell people more about it. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bolo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vidangscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskritya Nam Chaiva Narotamam Deving Saraswating Vyasam Tato Jayamudirye Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavad-Sevayā Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavtir Nashtaki Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ho. So we are reading, or should have read, Canto 1, Chapter 7. And thank you for pointing this chapter to me and giving me the seva. It's a very important chapter. And because we've read the Bhagavatam several times, it's like Gita. You know the storyline. But when it comes to detail, when you read it, you think, oh my God, this is amazing. I didn't read that first time. So there's so many amazing things I read, and I like to share it. I'm by no means an expert on it. So later on, you can ask me questions for some clarification. So let's give a summary note of what this chapter is about. And I've got half an hour, and then I think there's question and answer, something, or a little bit more than half an hour. Does the Zoom cut off at a particular time?
No, Prabhuji. We'll carry on. It won't cut off.
You'll carry on after even 1 hour, yeah?
I mean, hopefully, we want to finish around 9 o'clock.
Oh,
So maybe by 10 to 9, we can ask questions.
yeah. Okay, sure.
Yeah, go from there. Thank you.
Okay, so in the chapter 7, it was very interesting how chapter 4, chapter 5, chapter 7, Narada Muni ji visited Vyasdev ji. Because Vyasdev ji had written all the Vedas, written down, and the Puranas, Itihas, Upanishads, but he was discontented. And we get this in our life as well. We do our 16 rounds, go to the temple, we do whatever is being told, and we sit there thinking, I'm not feeling it. And so it's a good one. I could relate to that, thinking you achieve a lot, and then you sit there thinking, I'm not feeling complete happiness in me. And I was at a katha yesterday, and somebody said that actually your Gurudev knows everything, what a disciple is going through. And they said very, in a comical way, that even if somebody's stupid, but he still has a father, and when he shows his passport, his father's name is there. So he might be stupid, but his father's name is on it. So the father should make sure the son isn't stupid. So I really like that. That a Gurudev should make sure that the disciple is, learned or realized so. And it's a good angle. So the responsibility is quite a bit of the spiritual master. Immediately Narad Muni turns up at the Saraswati lake, and you got a lovely background, so it looks like a nice little river or lake. So when he came, and in a very, very nice way, he said, well, you've done so much. How come you're dissatisfied? And then he said, I know the reason. And now we can see the world, the magazines, all these WhatsApps, and we get so much information. We're flooded by it. Even after reading it, you just don't feel happy. You're more informed, but the satisfaction isn't there. And he says, actually, you're giving a bad name to religion because you presented it as religion, and you've done topics but they're not hitting the point. And the point is, as Prabhupada said in Bhagavad-Gita as it is, the point is Krishna. So, people are getting PhDs and everything like these days and writing a lot and podcasts and everything. There's a lot of talks, but people are still not satisfied. And it's only through loving devotional service, later on it's revealed, that you will get that satisfaction. It isn't about knowledge only. It is about satisfaction as well. So then Narad Muni told him the reason, and he said you should focus on Krishna Leela, although in Mahabharata, there's parts there of Krishna, but Pandavas and Kauravas fighting. And we must remember Bhagavad-Gita is actually part of Mahabharata. So you can't really criticize Mahabharata so much because Gita is spoken by Krishna himself. And that is also Krishna Katha, and Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is world famous, and actually is changing the world's consciousness. And Prabhupada gets the credit. Even yesterday at this Katha, the personality said what Srila Prabhupada has done, nobody else is going to do it, could have done, because he was empowered. And so Gita is very important. But Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, it says here that Gita is also the Katha of Krishna Katha, which is spoken by Krishna, whereas Bhagavatam is spoken about Krishna. So that becomes the Leela and everything. So devotees should be proud of actually both the scriptures, and we should be familiar with other scriptures, the Vedas, the Upanishads, and like that. But real satisfaction is actually glorifying Krishna Nam, Krishna Guna, Krishna Leela Vrinda, Krishna Swarup Sab Chit Ananda. So that is being said that Krishna's name is gunas, his qualities, and leelas. They are very, very satisfying. And Sab Chit Ananda, not Sat Chit, Sab. So all of these are actually Chit Anand, to give that. And so then Narad Muniji left after explaining, and I believe, because I did check, on second canto, there's a Chatushloki Bhagavatam. Ahameva sameva agrinanyat yat sat sat param paschadham yat eta cha yo vishishte so asmiham hridayritam yat pratyata na pratyata cha atmani tad vidyat atmano mayam yatha bhasa yatha tamaha. These are the two verses of the four. I only know the two. And that was spoken to Lord Brahma by the Supreme Lord. So those four shlokas were given to Narad Muniji. And Narad Muniji actually gave to Srila Vyasadeva, who then did Vistar, expanded on to 18,000 verses. And we must remember, Srila Vyasadeva ji was there at the time of Krishna's presence here. It wasn't like other scriptures. They are written after the departure of the personality they're writing about. And although Bhagavatam was written when Krishna left, and before Brikshad Maharaj was, heard it, so it was written during that period. And so he was there in his time of Krishna, so he knew the Leelas, but he realized, I have to give this presentation where it's written Krishna's tu Bhagavan-Sevayā. So he had to conclude that although there are, other anshas, but he's a Svayam. And we tend to sometimes be embarrassed, like when some people, oh, you're Hare Krishna, you're just saying Krishna, you should be this, should be that, And you have to tell them, yeah, you're right. We can give them importance. But what does Vyasadeva conclude? So that is very important. And so this is a really key verse, and that's in the first canto of Bhagavatam. So Vyasadeva ji sits at Saraswati river, and there's an ashram there, and he starts to write the Bhagavatam, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And once he's learned, then he trains up Sukadeva Goswami. And in this chapter, it is said that once Narad Muni goes, what did Vyasadeva do? So this is what he did. So when a guru enlightens you, life begins in a different consciousness. It can't be the same as before. Otherwise, it's then there's no difference, no change. You put a cloth in the washing machine and you do the whole spinning and everything, and you take it out, it's still dirty. You're thinking, what's the point of this machine? It's got to get clean like that. So then there was a question by others, what did he do afterwards? So Saraswati River, and then we'll go on to that when the verse comes like that, because I'm going to do it in a different style. I actually read from the Bhagavatam, the verses, some of them, and then the storyline. So he trained Sukadeva, and people were surprised that Sukadeva was already an enlightened person. So why did he kind of learn the Bhagavatam as well? Because he's an eternally liberated person. So the reason was given. And then the story, I'm just giving overview, starts of Ashvathama, the Mahabharata Yudh, where nearly all the Kauravas are dead. And Duryodhana is there, wounded by Bhima. And so Ashvathama takes it on board to revenge the Pandavas. And he's called Brahman's son. He's not called Brahman, he's son of Brahman. And Srila Prabhupada really writes, he's called son of Brahman because he was immature Brahman. He took a decision to actually kill the sons of the Pandavas, He knew it and he did it. And not only that, he used a Brahmastra a couple of times, even when he was, arrested and, humiliated, he still did it. So really gets you that a Brahman is really, and Draupadi was the one who was really hurt. And, Arjuna said, I'll take revenge and I'll get him and we'll kill him. And yet she showed the soft side of her. So we'll come to that later on. So seeing the situation of this Katha, I was hearing Srila Prabhupada, he said that as the world becomes more materialistic, don't be surprised there'll be wars and droughts and pestilence. And we've had the corona, we've had the different droughts in Sudan and places like that. It's getting hot in this country as well, and soon they'll be saying don't use the hose. And there's wars happening, and people are talking about, don't worry, think about when the third world would happen. It has started already. People are speculating of. And I was also wondering, I joined this movement because of the Vietnam War. It was bothering me how people can kill each other when they don't know each other. Usually when you're introduced to someone, you shake hands saying, hello, how are you? But you don't know the enemy and you shoot it, and you kill him. And you're thinking, what do you get? Did you know him personally? So that's how it became Krishna conscious. Like, what's the aim of life? And now, again, that this is worse than that. That was just Vietnam War. This is happening in bigger areas. So when Prabhupada said that don't be surprised of wars, droughts, and everything, we think, it's all this carbon and pollution and everything doing it. No, we are polluting the world with materialism. More and more, we are becoming consumer society. And this Amazon doesn't help. People are ordering things left and center, and they are occupied with gadgets, things like that. They don't have time for reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad-Gita. And it's amazing how Srila Prabhupada came at the time when the Vietnam War was happening. And his books are really saving many, many devotees, that another big situation is happening. And we're getting satisfaction by reading and protection, reading Bhagavad-Gita and Bhagavatam. And so there's a great need that we should go out and spread this wisdom of Krishna consciousness, because that's the only thing which will protect. You might think I'm saying that because I'm part of Iskcon and all that, but I've seen now that there's loads of bhaktas doing Bhagavatam, and many are qualified and many might not be qualified, but people are becoming aware of Krishna Leelas and even his bhajans and everything. Before, when I was growing up, I could hear Mata De bhajan. And I was thinking, when is Krishna's bhajans going to come, And now there's loads of them. And I'm feeling encouraged as well, although our situation is bad, but there is grace as well. So we will talk about that. So I'm going to actually start the reading of the Bhagavatam. So it's chapter 1, 7, and first verse. Rishi Shonak said, O Sutta, the great and transcendently powerful Vyasadeva heard everything from Sri Narad Muni. So after Narad's departure, what did Vyasadeva do? It's a very good question, because they are also hearing this Leela, because Sutta Goswami was there when the Bhagavatam was being spoken by Sukadev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj. And he was there, so they were eager to hear all this. And so Sri Sutta said, on the western bank of the river Saraswati, which is intimately related with the Vedas, there's a cottage for meditation at Samya Prash, which enlivens the transcendental activities of the sages. So Srila Prabhupada says in the purport that even when we are doing contemplation, meditation, you make sure the place is right as well. You got to choose the place. Like your background is so beautiful, you don't feel like gadgets and things, think, oh, let me look at the swans and beautiful water and everything. Your mind is away from other things and entanglements. Actually, there's a relief there. So Prabhupada said it's very important where you sit. So that's why Prabhupada went around the world making temples. And you can see, that when we go to the temple, and especially when it's quiet, there's nobody there. It's amazing, your mind also shuts down. You just look at the altar, you look at Srila Prabhupada, and you immediately start to experience something, a peace, because everybody's after peace and shanti. And so Srila Prabhupada was amazing. He called them oases. In all this hustle bustle, like Oxford Street is an amazing one. You go to Oxford Street, it's so busy out there. You go upstairs in front of the Lordship, you can't even hear the streets. And you realize, oh my God, I can't believe this is Oxford Street. So these are the oases. So it's very important. And so Srila Prabhupada said Srila Vyasadeva was a householder, yet his residential place is called an ashram. An ashram is a place where spiritual culture is always foremost. So please, this is very, very important. One ashram system, the word ashram is there, it means all the topics of brahmachari, the grihasthas, the vanprasth, and a sannyasi, they should be spiritual topics. That's why ashram. Otherwise, grihastha, if he's into sense gratification, is grihamedi. He's just, having comfort and setting. Like when I went to Nigeria first time, because I worked there with Rolls-Royce, they sent me there. And all the Asian houses I go to, they had a bar there with drinks. I goes, where's your altar? And they were laughing. Goes, well, this is the only spirit we know. So I was thinking, oh my God. And so then I went to a Nigerian house and they had a bar as well. And then they knew I was a Hare Krishna. He goes, you want to get spiritual, Haridas? I said, no. He goes, no, you do that. I don't want to. So I was amazed. So when we did preaching in that area and we got rid of those bars, instead of, we put the altars there. I was only there for a period, and ashram is incredible, like brahmachari ashram, grihastha ashram. And in the beginning, I was feeling it when you get married and, you're getting intimate with your partner and everything. You're wondering, is this right, wrong, or whatever? Because this is an ashram, because, then you go to work and then you buy things which grihasthas do. And all the time you're thinking, well, I'm a devotee, but I'm surrounded by these things. But now over the years, we use them all in Krishna service. Actually, doesn't bother us, Even when we go to materialistic houses, we just see things there. We're thinking they must be seeing Krishna. Obviously, they don't. It's all sense gratification for them. So please make a note of this ashram word. That whatever ashram you are, the topic should be spiritual culture, Prabhupada put it. And then it's a fourth verse. Thus he fixed his mind perfectly, engaging it by linking it in devotional service, bhakti yoga, without any tinge of materialism. And thus he saw the absolute personality of Godhead along with his external energy, which was under full control. So this is amazing that, Vyasadevji actually meditated and he was able to take darshan of the Supreme Lord. We can do meditation and we can carry on for many years. You ain't going to take darshan of the Supreme Lord because we are not Shuddha Bhakta. And that's why we're doing sadhana bhakti, Vedi bhakti, and then when Raganuga bhakti will happen, actually you'll see everything as Krishna's energy and you won't be wanting anything for yourself. You want everything yukta vairage, use everything for Krishna's service. So please realize you can have darshan. Even Prabhupada has put in his books that even in this lifetime, you'll be able to see Krishna face to face. I read that and I'm really, waiting for that moment. And I must say a few times, there was a little glimpse of something transcendental, which really, really, really inspires you thinking Prabhupada was right, that I am, on coming closer and closer to something wonderful happening. So he did the meditation and he saw everything. He saw the Supreme Lord and he saw his incarnations and everything. And he saw the internal energy and the external energy and the marginal energy. He saw everything. So when he was given the Chatur Shloki, four shlokas, verses, you can see he got the darshan of it all. Never mind the leelas of Krishna, everything. He saw everything, the Lord and his energies. And if we see material energy, Maya Devi, and we get impressed. Wow, look at this. Can you imagine we saw the internal energy, how we would feel? Maya is a trap. Even that is really capturing our imagination. We wanted to use it. So Vyasadevji was in full control, even though after taking this vision on board. And that's one of the things we have to do. Sometimes as devotees, when we get popularity, we don't know how to deal with it. Sometimes we get disappointment. We don't know how to deal with it. Sometimes we get knowledge. We don't know how to deal with it. So there's loads of things which happen to us in our bhakti. It's a ride. It's an incredible ride. You go through, every day is different, but we don't know how to deal with it. Sometimes we get elated, other times we get disappointed. And you almost sometimes believe when you're disappointed, am I a devotee or not? Why is this happening to me? But this is what you got to handle, that you are experiencing Maya Devi and other times you are Yoga Maya Devi, because you are like, at the moment we're talking about topics of Krishna. This is Yoga Maya working. I'm speaking, you're hearing, Yoga Maya is there. As we go away and do our other things, Maya Devi will come into being. So he was able to envisage all of that. And then you can see that he would write after that. So purport in there is, devotional service of Bhakti Yoga is the function of internal energy. Again, I'll repeat, devotional service of Bhakti Yoga is the function of internal energy. Thus, there is no place for the inferior energy or material energy, just as there is no place for darkness in the effulgence of spotlight and darkness in the effulgence of spiritual light. Such internal energy is even superior. I'm saying something incredible. It's written by Srila Prabhupada. Such internal energy is even superior to the spiritual bliss attainable in the conception of impersonal Brahman. So those who are, impersonal Brahman, they get satisfaction, but this internal energy is superior to that. So they don't actually get the happiness of spiritual energy, but they are getting some sort of bliss with this conception of impersonal Brahman. So I really like that point. We'll go to the next verse 5. And the verses, due to this external energy, the living entity, although transcendental to the three modes of material nature, thinks of himself as a material product and thus undergoes the reactions of material miseries. So what is our cause of material miseries? We think with this body. And I was listening to Srila Prabhupada the other day. Srila Prabhupada said, if somebody comes to you and say, you're a dog or you're a hog, why do you get upset? You're not this body. And somebody calls you, Your Majesty, why are you getting elated? You're not this body. So whether you're called hog or majesty, why are you happy or depressed? Because you're not this body. So you can see this is Prabhupada speaking. We do get trouble when somebody calls us a dog. And I have, turns out, who are you calling a dog or whatever? Because all the time, we are spending our time adjusting, the needs for our body, the comfort, the food, the sleeping, all that. So you might say, I know I'm a soul, but are you acting on that platform? Obviously not. And that's why we feel, Adi Atmik, Adi Bodhik, Adi Devik, all these problems. But if you didn't relate to that, just right, I'm a spirit soul, I'm transcendental. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin. I'll never die. When you have that consciousness, you just put up with this, and you just learn to tolerate like that. So it's a very good point. So realize the cause of our misery. We think we're this material body because Maya Devi thinks you are like that. She's testing you. She's putting you into trouble. So the next verse, what does it say? This is the cause, just like a doctor say, you got a flu. Here is the medicine. So medicine is this is verse 6. The material miseries of the living entity, which are superfluous to him, can be directly mitigated, immediately put out, by the linking process of devotional service. So Prabhupada used the word linking in a process. We call it bhakti yoga. But the mass of people do not know this. And therefore, the learned Vyasadeva compiled this Vedic literature, which is in relationship to the supreme truth. Because everybody knows the relative truth. You have your point of view, somebody else has his point of view, quarrel starts. You want to know what is good for you, what's beneficial to me, other one wants benefit, so the argument starts. They don't want to share the limelight. They want to be the one who's right. Be number one. Be the best. That's American slogan. Be the best. What about the rest? Where should they go? Jump in the lake or something? You'll have one guy in America, then he's the best. No, do your best. But what best you should do? Get to know the truth. Satyam param dhimahi. What is the supreme truth? And in there says that supreme truth is Krishna. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swami. So in purport, Srila Prabhupada put, Srila Vyasadeva saw the all-perfect personality of Godhead. This statement suggests that the complete unit of the personality of Godhead includes his parts and parcels also. He saw, therefore, his different energies, namely the internal energy, the marginal energy, and the external energy. He also saw his different plenary portions and parts of his plenary portions, namely his different incarnations also. And he specifically observed the unwanted miseries of the conditioned souls who are bewildered by the external energy. And at last, he saw the remedial measure for the conditioned souls, namely the process of devotional service. Now, these two verses alone are showing you what your cause of the disease is, your suffering is, and what is the solution. This is Bhagavata we're talking about. Canto 1, just the beginning, not at the end, you're going to, and so you have to realize how important this chapter is. I didn't realize that. Thanks for giving me that. Because when I read it, I realized, oh my God, look, in these two verses, 5 and 6, 5 says the cause and the solution. And think bhakti. So now the homework is, what is loving devotional service? That you have to spend your whole life finding it. But the answer is there. That is the only solution. So, and the verse 7, it goes, the verse is, simply by giving oral reception to this Vedic literature, the feeling for loving devotional service to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sprouts up at once to extinguish the fire of lamentation, illusion, and fearfulness. We're all suffering from lamenting all the time. Kash ye ho jata, kash wo ho jata. And miseries, hold on a second. Yeah, sorry. Illusion, you're thinking this is the truth, but it comes out something different. And fearfulness. And the devotee is abhayam, fearlessness. Why? He's realized I'm not the body. Body in the end will die one day. There's truths. One is the soul never dies. Two is body dies. So why don't you accept that and say, as long as I got the body, I'll use it in the service of Krishna. It's great news. Everybody else say, well, sometimes we fall ill, and some of our friends and relatives who are not Krishna conscious say, but you are devotees, how come you're suffering there? He said, I'm not suffering, my body is. My body is same as yours. So we have to realize that come to Atma Tattva very quickly, because that is Canto 1 here. Now you have to know what devotional service is. So what is the purport here? The conclusion is that simply by hearing the Vedic literature, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Prabhupada writes, one can have direct connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. The word is direct connection. We don't realize it's direct connection. We think maybe it is, maybe not, because Shraddha, our Nishtha hasn't come yet. When you firmly think, well, this is, when you're standing in front of the deities, realize that is the Supreme Lord. You're changing his clothes. You're doing the gopi dance. You're feeding him. Realize this is direct connection. But we are neophytes. So we're thinking, maybe this will bring the Supreme Lord. But the ones who are Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, all of them, Radha Gopinath, Radha Govind, Madan Mohan, they are the Supreme Lord. And they left them behind for us to serve them. And so many devotees are being made. And, Govind Dev in Jaipur, I got thousands come in the palace, morning Mangalarti and everything like that. I'm impressed so much with their devotion. It's the Acharyas who've given us those deities. So, and thereby one can attain the highest perfection of life by transcending worldly miseries, illusion, and fearfulness. Look, how much more clear we can make it. This is Prabhupada writing. Then we got the same situation now. This situation will be there all the time. It's not getting worse. It was there. It's just that you're experiencing the worst. So we got to transcend that. How? Through Bhakti Yoga. Then verse 8 says, the great sage Vyasadeva, after compiling the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and revising it, taught it to his own son, Sri Shukdev Goswami, who was already engaged in self-realization. So this verse shows parampara system. Brahmaji got the Chaturshloki from the Lord himself. Brahmaji taught it to Narada Muniji. Narada Muni taught it to Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva then compiles this 18,000 shlokas. He teaches to Shukdev. And then Shukdev spoke to Parikshit Maharaj. And Sutta heard it. Then Sutta carries on, speaks to Shonak Rishi and all the sages. And you can see how this parampara is going on. We are so fortunate. We got writings of Srila Prabhupada. And he spoke the Bhagavatam and he's written purports on it. Can you see how many verses are there now? It's more than 18,000 because Prabhupada expanded on it. And one of them, Atmaram one, was the purport is amazing. So many pages long. So we are so fortunate that this Shuddha Bhakta, Srila Prabhupada, has expanded even on the verse to make us understand. And we should really take advantage of that. So the question was, then next is, Srila Sukdev Goswami had already attained that stage, and still he was attracted to undergo the trouble. The verse says, trouble of studying the great Bhagavatam literature. That's in the verse. They use the word trouble. Brahmaji, when he created in the beginning, he was in trouble. He was alone. And so what's all this then? And then he heard the words tap, tap, tap. Tapasya means tapasya. So he did the trouble, the penances, and then the Lord gave him darshan. They said penances and the Supreme Lord is the same thing. But we devotees don't want trouble. We want it easy, everything easy, like instant coffee, instant tea, everything instant. No, you got to, have, penances. You've got to sit down and read. You got to do your japa. All those things. They look like trouble to others, but look at the joy you're going to get. So then, that was the question. Why did he take the trouble to read Bhagavatam? So in the purport, Prabhupada says, this means that Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is a postgraduate study, even for the Atmarams, who have surpassed all the studies of Vedic knowledge. So he was liberated, Sukadeva Goswami. Even then, he took the trouble to read the Bhagavatam. And he was able to speak and save Parikshit Maharaj's consciousness of like, I'm going to die. He even forgot about that, and he fell in love with Lord Krishna. So now the 10th verse is the famous Atmarama's verse. Shuta Uvach, Atmaramascha Munyo Nirgranta Api Urkrame Guravanti Ahitukim Bhaktim Itam Bhuta Guno Hari. It says, the translation, all different varieties of Atmarams. And who are Atmarams? Those who take pleasure in Atma or spirit itself. So it goes on, especially those established on the path of self-realization, though freed from all kinds of material bondage, desire to render unalloyed devotional service unto the personality of Godhead. This means that the Lord possesses transcendental qualities and therefore can attract everyone, including liberated souls as well. So this is Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained this Atmaram shloka very vividly before his chief devotee, Srila Sanatana Goswami. And Sanatana Goswami in Varanasi, he said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you spoke this verse to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and you gave so many meanings to it. And would you please reiterate it to me? Because I want to hear it, because I heard this Leela. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I've forgotten what I said. He said, okay, let me try because you asked. Then he comes out with more expansion of this verse. And I'll tell you what, I ask you to read it, please, because it'll take about 2 hours to read it all, what each word means on this one. And please do read it. It's the first canto, 7th chapter and 10th verse. So I won't expand on it, but you can read on it. And then verse 11. Srila Sukadeva Goswami, son of Srila Vyasadeva, was not only transcendently powerful, he was also very dear to the devotees of the Lord. Thus, he underwent the study of this great narration, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada had talked about impersonalist and personalist. And he says impersonalists and personalists avoid each other because they have different conclusion to what this Param Satya is. And it appears that Srila Sukadeva Goswami also had no liking for the devotees. Because when he was born, he ran away to the forest. So, and Vyasadeva was running after him, calling him back, but he didn't. He just stayed there. So it looks like he wanted to be in isolation. And like many people just want to be locked up and all that. But it's not the best of environment. And in the end, he sent a couple of his disciples, Vyasadeva did, and just spoke 2 shlokas. One is glorifying Krishna, and the other one glorifying Putana's salvation. And Sukadeva came out thinking, who's that you're talking about? And he goes, we only know these 2 lines. You have to come back. So he's one of those renunciates who came back home to learn more. And Vyasadeva then taught him. And Prabhupada writes in the purport, but since he himself became a saturated devotee, he desired always the transcendental association of Vishnu Janas. Vishnu Janas means devotees. And the Vishnu Janas also liked his association since he became a personal Bhagavat. So you can see even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so scholarly in his initial days that Gadadhar Pandit was even avoiding him, and he's his Shakti. And he was saying, Kash, he becomes a devotee. And in the end, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu turned into a great devotee and everybody loved him. He used to have followers everywhere. And so even Srila Prabhupada wanted us to be associating with each other. So please, devotees, don't miss out on devotees. Seek association. Please join this forum for Bhagavatam. It's a wonderful forum. And encourage others to also come on because the topics are of Bhagavatam. And it says here, the Bhagavatam will remove all the miseries. So if you're not reading Bhagavatam, that's why you're so miserable. So realize that. So hang on a second. So we got 15 minutes. Let me quickly finish what I've written. So he goes, Sutta Goswami thus addressed the Rishi headed by Shanak Rishi. He goes, now I shall begin the transcendental narration of the Lord Sri Krishna and topics of the birth, activities, and deliverance of King Parikshit, the sage amongst kings, as well as topics of the renunciation of the worldly order by the sons of Pandu. So then the next verses are, When the respective warriors of both camps, namely the Kauravas and the Pandavas, were killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and the dead warriors obtained their deserved destination, and when the son of Dhritarashtra fell down lamenting, his spine broken, being beaten by the club of Bhimsen, the son of Dronacharya Ashvatthama beheaded the 5 sleeping sons of Draupadi and delivered them as a prize to his master, foolishly thinking that he would be pleased. Duryodhana, however, disapproved of the heinous act, and he was not pleased at least. So, Prabhupada said, therefore, both the Bhagavad-Gita and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam are transcendental topics of Lord Krishna. The Gita is Krishna Katha, or the topics of Krishna, because it is spoken by the Lord, and the Bhagavatam is also Krishna Katha because it is spoken about the Lord. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted everyone to be informed of both Krishna Kathas by his order. Lord Chaitanya desired that all who are born in India, Prabhupada writes, seriously understand such Krishna Kathas, and then after full realization, preach the transcendental message to everyone in all parts of the world. That will bring about the desired peace and prosperity of the stricken world. So now there's a story of, him killing 5 sons. Draupadi heard it, she started to cry. Arjun promised that I will actually bring him and punish him. And then when he chases him, and he releases a Brahmastra. And Arjun saw that, wow, where's all this light coming from? Then he prayed to Krishna. And then Krishna told him, he's released the Brahmastra, but he doesn't know how to withdraw it. But you also release the Brahmastra, and 2 of them, then you withdraw both of them. And he was able to do that. And Ashwatthama was caught, brought in front of Sri Krishna. And Sri Krishna said, well, he's a Brahmin son, so you have to give concession, but he's also a killer of children. He should be killed. He gave both the options. And he was taken to Hastinapur, and Draupadi saw the Brahmin son or Guru's son being tied up like a captive animal. And she said, no, he's Guru's son, please release. And he says his mother will be, she didn't become Sati, and she was relying on the son. I know what it feels like when children are killed. I don't want his mother to also cry like that. Please release him. And so Bhishma, Bhim didn't want him to be released. He said we should kill him. And Sahadev and Nakul and Sahadev was saying the same thing. So then what happened is Arjun just realized, looked at Krishna, and Krishna said the same thing again. And so then he shaved him, took this money from the forehead, and released him. And this is not in this chapter, it's the next chapter, I think. He just went again and used the Brahmastra to kill Parikshit Maharaj in the womb. So you can see that even when he was punished like that and forgiven, he didn't change his character. And that's why he's called son of Brahmana. Means he wasn't called Brahmana, he was immature. Similarly, we should also realize ourselves, if our behavior is like that, even though we are initiated, then you're not really a Vaishnava. To be called a Vaishnava is it's a mature word that he's a Vaishnava. When I go to Bharat, they say, Bhaktava. I used to think Bhakta, everybody's a Bhakta. No, you got to have the qualities of Bhaktas, and people observe you. And especially they observe your, compassion. Draupadi, who had 5, husbands, and she was disrobed, and her children are killed. She still had compassion, saying, please, okay, don't kill him, like that. And she showed compassion, and the devotees should have that compassion. They should judge someone according to the deeds they've done, and in the end just saying, hang on, how can we reform him rather than reject him? But look at Ashwatthama. Even after being released and punished like that, he still did the heinous act. Going around the world somewhere, and still here, suffering. And we should realize it's not about existing. We always exist because we're eternal. It's what actions you do, what decisions you take. And this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam will tell you that you should spend your time, most of the time, serving the Lord and the devotees. And this will actually bring peace in the world. Prabhupada wanted us to do that. And it's good that we are, preaching on regular basis, inviting people, changing their consciousness. And I got a lot out of this chapter, and thank you for inviting me for this. And I hope I'm gone over the time. And any comments or questions, please, you can ask me. I'll try.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Wonderful class. And I think we are most fortunate, those of us have managed to listen today. And I have recorded it as well, and I put a link. So if you want to hear again or pass it on, obviously, I think we need to hear again, such beautiful words. It's never enough. And amazing analogy you gave about the washing, the cleaning, when the Guru
Washing machine, yeah.
Master, he cleanses you with his words. And I mean, it just reminded me of recently went to a laundry, I think, for the first time. So in 30 kilo, 40 kilo machines, beautiful experience. So cleansing is a very, very important process, and which obviously we need for, as a devotee, as a bhakta, as you said, to cleanse our heart. Very, very important. That's the purification, knowledge, and devotion. These three things we definitely need to work on. I need to work on. So I really appreciate your input and your time today, and we do hope that you make time again for us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, whenever, and there is Guru Sevak as well in the Yatra, and Vidu Prabhu. And please engage them because they do read a lot. And this, we have discovered, we feel happy when we are serving in this way. Otherwise, we think we know Chaitanya Charitamrita, we think we know, but when the details come up, suddenly you realize, oh my God, I need to read more and remember this point. These discussions are very important. We're just sharing what we realize. We are not experts on it at all. But look at how much happiness you're getting. The Vyasadevji saw it all. He said, this is the cause, this is the solution. And Srila Prabhupada goes there and just gives them the solution, the Maha Mantra, Bhakti, the four principles you must follow, no compromise on that and all that. And now you can see that, we love Srila Prabhupada anyway, but you can see he's lining up with what's in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. We should do the same without question. Without question, yeah.
These four regulations, as you mentioned, we were in Rio a few years back, and we were looking for the temple. And when we got to the destination, we saw a bar, like you said, where the temple should be. There was a bar there, and we're thinking, well, what's going on? I think temple was upstairs somewhere. You had to somehow get to it, but then there were very heavy rains, started raining, and we left from there. But yeah,
Where was this? Where was this?
In Brazil.
Oh, Brazil.
Yeah,
Okay.
in Rio. So first you get darshan of that spirit, and then you get darshan of the spirit we're looking for, which is, you're quite right, that is the norm in society in every country. And we sort of, that spirit should be behind us, and we're looking for a different spirit, which will give us total happiness, eternal happiness, and no side effects. So this is the spirit we hanker for. So we're so fortunate to do that. And actually now I'll pass on to the devotees. If you have any questions, please go ahead. You can write or you can unmute and ask Prabhuji. And while you're deciding, I'll just quickly ask Prabhuji, Prabhuji, this personality of marginal energy that you mentioned that Vyasadeva saw, so who would that be? Because like we are the marginal energy, right? So what would he have seen as the personality of marginal energy?
Well, for me to, because I just read the scene. Whenever you're right, like Brahmaji had a vision as well. Before, when you do tapasya before that, was it Vishnu? You know, and was it some other avatar? Like that. But I just assume that Krishna willed it, and either himself, he would present himself, or as Vasudeva. Vasudeva, he's also, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and Vasudeva Para Veda. So he would present himself four-armed, because the two-armed Murlidhar, is for the lovers, really. And those who are in confusion and all that, Vasudeva comes and, presents himself. And then in uh, other places, the universal form, was seen, unless somebody else knows. But I would say this was a whole composition that he was able to see the internal, and then all the other incarnations and everything like that. So it's really a scene which is transcendental. And because it won't be Vaikunt, because in Vaikunt there can't be external energy. So he's showing his energy as well. And Mahavishnu can show that. He's saying, well, there's Mahatattva here. So we wouldn't know. I don't want to sort of guess it, but he got the complete picture of the external, the marginal, and the internal, and all the incarnations and everything like that, because he's incarnation as well. So he's able to see that because he revives his thing. And this is a Leela to show us the parampara, and whatever knowledge has been passed to Brahmaji is available to us as well, even though we are not incarnations. But we are Mamevansho Jivaloka, we are his Ansh. So what we see, just like Arjun saw the universal form, and then later on said, can I see the four-arm form? Can I see the two-arm form? So the Lord, that's why when my Guru Maharaj used to say, they used to come to Guru Maharaj and say, मैंने राधा रमन को देखा हुआ, you mean unke darshan hue? We can't see the Lord, it's what he presents. So he gives darshan, you're not seeing anything. So for me to say what Vyasadevji saw, but he saw the complete scene, unless somebody else who is more learned can share something there.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Ajay, you want to ask a question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for the class. So obviously within this chapter and onwards, we understand that obviously the Pandavas are dealing with a very severe situation. And obviously with the Pandav sons being killed, it's very heated, everything's, this is a very serious situation as such. But because Arjun is so closely related to Krishna, he understands what Krishna wants naturally. He understands that he's being tested by Krishna. Now, for us, we understand that we rely on Guru, Sadhu, Shastra for how to deal with things. But if we were confronted by such a serious situation, we might not necessarily be able to think clearly. Might be overcome by emotion as such. So my question to you is, from your own experience, what has been your process when you've been confronted by serious situations, or you had some personal issue, whatever? What has been your way to get back to thinking how Krishna wants you to think, as opposed to being controlled by emotion and other such things?
Very good question, because this we get, never mind criminals, even when we're in a temple situation, you see different devotees coming and you're judging them. You don't say to anybody, like, I think this is so and so, but in your mind, you're thinking, is he all right? Is this and the other? And once a crime was committed by, one wise person, one passionate person, and one ignorant person, and the king told the one who was wise, tell him, okay, you leave the country. So he left. And the second one, he says, okay, you leave the town. And the third one, they said, put him on a donkey, shave his hair, put black tar on him and everything, and tell him to take 4 rounds of the city. And the minister goes to the king separately, because they did the same crime. Why did you give different punishment? He said, the other one has done it first time. He's regretting. I could see on his face. I told him, okay, you leave the country. So he's not ashamed to be living there. I did him a favor. And the second one, I told him leave because he's done it before, but he wasn't habituated. He got trapped in there. And he said, just see what he'll do. The person left the town, but he burned his house. So nobody points the finger. This guy used to live there. The third one, they saw him. He was on top of the donkey, tar and everything. When he was doing he goes to his wife, put the hot water on. This is the last round. I'm going to have a bath after this. So he says, see, this guy he's going to do it again. He's teeth. He's stubborn. He'll do that. So similarly, depending on the experience of the devotee, when you see the situation, you can have a panel of people judging, but not each one will be able to discern that what correction does this person need, because you have to see the potential, that has he got the potential to be reformed, to become a devotee. Like Draupadi just saw the Guru's son. Like Arjun saw, well, he's a criminal because he just done the war, Mahabharata, and there the soldiers decide to spare or kill. Right, but Draupadi wasn't involved in the war, so she's seeing the Guru in the person. And Bhim has killed many and eaten them, you know. He was saying, do them now, because they're all warriors. So depending on your consciousness as well, and whether you used to, like a judge, when he decides somebody's murdered someone, it's okay, hang him then. You can't blame the judge. He just said it, but he doesn't do the hanging. The executioner does it. And he doesn't question it. That's his job, and he'll do it. So you can see at what stage and what consciousness you have, that does this person need reforming? Does it need actually punishment? So does it need just atonement? Saying, okay, Prabhuji, don't do it again, or do so many rounds and whatever like that. So I would say when there's a social system set up, then the judges and those professionals, they decide. That's why they need proof and everything. And if you notice around the world, they're not killing for murderers or rapists or whatever, but there's a rule in there: if somebody burns a house, you can kill him as well. So they were very firm. Like in Saudi, they could chop your hands and all that. You don't see many criminals there. But outside, because they let them go, then the crime is increasing. Now the prisons are packed, and they're having to release them before the the maturity date and have something like that. So the judgment should be correct. And when the British were ruling Bharat, they always chose the Brahmins to be the judges, because Brahman knows that if you misjudge judge someone, their karma will come on you, and you'll have to suffer it next life. But a person who doesn't know this, whatever bribe he gets, he'll give that sentence. So Vaishnav always knows that, have I got all the facts right? Am I reforming this person, punishing him? Is he going to do atonement? And are we rejecting him? We can't handle it like that. So accordingly, you say, well, according to our capacity of our understanding, we think this is the medicine. And you can see here, even Vyasadeva saw the miseries is caused by identifying with the body. He said the medicine is, Krishna Katha. And only yesterday, we heard in this Katha, one criminal stole something from the kingdom, and the soldiers were chasing him. And there was a Katha going on. He went and sat down there. And the Acharya said that when somebody gives initiation, it's a new birth. It's a new birth. The old birth is gone. It's a new birth. So after the Katha, he told me, could you initiate me, please, quickly? And so they initiated him. He said, you seem to be keen. And then the soldiers came and arrested him, and they took him in front of the king. And he says, did you steal this? He goes, in this lifetime, I did not steal. Because he got a new life. He says, in this life, I haven't done that. So they said, for that, he said, we'll have to do the test then, because there was a light detector. That is, they light a candle and they tell you to put your hand on top. So say, if you haven't stolen, then you'll be all right. And you know what? His hand didn't get burned. And the king said, okay, we believe you. But this guy started to cry. He went straight to his Guru Maharaj. He goes, you're right. You give me a new birth. And he said, I give up this bad habit. So you can see the sadhus see a crime differently. The real crime is we're living a lie, all of us, that we think we are the body. That's a real crime. So what is the punishment for that? A solution, reading Bhagavatam, Bhagavad-Gita. So we as devotees, Vaishnava, we should be very careful. Don't be like ordinary karmis judging someone. Just realize, can I now use this to the advantage of the person, saying, that was wrong what you did. Do you want to improve yourself? That's the time to do that. But if you don't say it at the right time, the person will say, well, these devotees are, idiots. We can do it again and again, con them. So we've seen in maturity in our center as well, that sometimes we didn't say it, but the person knew it, that we haven't accepted their excuses and everything like that. And it comes with maturity. It's not written down anywhere or whatever, but in your heart, when somebody's cheating, as I said, don't be cheated and don't cheat. So only you can judge when you're not cheating yourself. Otherwise, you're living a lie, then obviously who knows where the line is, So you have to be a Shuddha Bhakta when you're judging someone, or going towards Shuddha Bhakta if not Shuddha Bhakta. So it's different person, different judgment like that. I hope it explains that.
No, thank you, Prabhu. Good explanation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, That's very nice response there. Anybody else like to ask any questions? Please go ahead. You have the opportunity today. Let's make the best of it with Haridas Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. First of all, Haridas Prabhu, thank you very much for an enlightening summary of this chapter. I've been following it sort of loosely because I haven't been too well recently. But I've heard the discussions going on in the different sessions, and I think you touched upon the topic of judgment. Lord Krishna doesn't judge people. He doesn't judge his enemies from his friends. So he gives salvation equally to them if they surrender to him, or if they face him and face, if you like, their punishment. We shouldn't be judging people either. And I think this is what Draupadi has shown us, that she doesn't judge the Ashwatthama. She sees him as another part of Lord Krishna. She sees his mother as another devotee, great devotee, and she doesn't want that great devotee to be in distress. And that's the true role of a devotee, is to help other devotees progress rather than cause grief to them. And I think that's the great moral example that Draupadi is shown in this particular example, in pardoning Ashwatthama, for even though he's committed these heinous crimes for which he should have been punished with death.
The thing is, you have to realize Draupadi, because they tried to disrobe her, that really became the point that this Mahabharata had to happen. So although she is applying compassion, but she was the victim. And because of that, all the Kauravas disappeared. And similarly with Sita and Ravan, when he was touching other ladies, nothing much was happening because he had a lot of punya. But Vidyavati, when she came, Ravan touched her. He said, I'm going to be the cause of your death. And Ravan immediately became afraid. So then it became a trap again. So he abducted Sita Mata, and Ravan's death happened. So the ladies, although they're compassionate, but you know what? Men misjudge the potency of ladies. You could do crime on it, and a lot of it is happening around the world, and then they get into problems. So please remember, Draupadi became she didn't cause it, but Kaurav sort of did what to her wrong, and they all paid for it. And even then, in the end, although she's a Kshatriya lady, she was judging him as a guru's son. Krishna was judging him as both, like son of a Brahmin, also a criminal. He gave both the judgments. Then the Kshatriyas, Arjun and others, Arjun was different, but the others wanted him killed. But Draupadi just fell for the mother. So you can see it's very, very complex. It's not black and white. That Draupadi actually became the cause of and 650 million soldiers die. And Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkritam. And Krishna arranges in such a way that when the planet gets burdened by, loads of arrogant people, he arranges it that the devotees are saved and the others die. And it's very horrific war, one of the biggest. And you can see now there's loads of leaders who are very, very arrogant around the world currently. And they are killing children and women and not holding back. And we can't believe it. This in modern days, this is happening. A bit like Ashwatthama type. They know better, but they continue to do so because they think they're powerful. But nobody's as powerful as the Supreme Lord. So they want to experience peace, shanti. And so Draupadi's case as well, she had both the values, compassion as well, but she's Kshatriya as well. And she was disrobed. And Mahabharata becomes very important, classic, to understand what went on, what caused the getting rid of all these arrogant kings. And so your point is good, but please realize that she also became the cause of the Mahabharata.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for clarifying that point.
Well, anybody else has got another view on it or something? Because she's very fascinating, but she's called Krishna as well, but it's pronounced differently. I'm not a scholarly person, but she's called Krishna as well. And people were very rude to her, and she had to hear insults. And then she lost the children. We worry about our headaches and I got a cold and flu, what's going on. Look at her, you know. And Krishna was visiting them. And I learned a lot from that. Then look at all the incarnations when they come here, you know, they're partners and, you know, and parshads, they go through quite a lot, worse than what we can, just to show us, look, you're not experiencing pain that much as when the Lord was there. I mean, somebody rang me and said, you know, in this flight which went down Ahmedabad, he said they found the Gita. He said, so Gita was intact. So what is the meaning then? Because the rest of them died. So he's a Hindu person. And he told me, how do we understand it? Because I was thinking on that as well. I said, the thing is, that was a plane crash and one survived and the Gita was there. And they were saying some other paraphernalia, devotional paraphernalia, didn't burn either, but things around it burned. And I said, in Mahabharat Yudh, Krishna was there. 650 people, million people died. And I said, you know what it is? Their destination was not normal. Because Krishna was there, they would have a positive destination. Similarly, how do you know these plane crash people? Because the Gita hasn't got the next destination much better than otherwise why they would have had it. And he goes, okay, I understand that. I said, that's all I can think of. Whether Krishna is there or his book is there, the destination of all the people who died will be, you know, better than what it is now. So that was my answer. So, you know, Krishna Leela, Krishna's Gita, Krishna's Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, you know, these are all like dharmic scriptures. And then Parodharma is the Bhagavatam, that even though you become self-realized, Atmaram, how should you be engaged now? And that is bhakti. And in that bhakti, like Meera, she had poison, offered it to the Lordship and drank it, didn't die. And we have to realize we've got to have an engagement, not just self-realization. We've got to have loving devotional service. The word loving is there, not just service as well. Loving devotional service. And Chaitanya Charitamrita will give it. And if I can remember the verse, I'll say, it goes, say, Panch Tattva Mili, Prithvi Asiya, Purav Prem Bandarera, Mudra Ugadiya, Panche Mili, Lute Prem, Kare Aswadan, Yat Yat Piye, Trishna Bade, Ashmana. And the meaning of this verse is that the 5 Panchatattva, they came to this earth and then they broke the seal of this chest drawer, which was left by Krishna, the Krishna Prem, and which wasn't open before. And the 5 came and they broke it and they start to taste it. And as they have the taste of it, they want more and more. And that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityanand Prabhu, and Gadadhar, others, they gave it to us, which Prabhupada delivered to us. You know, so if you surrender to Panch Tattva, Panchtattvakam Krishnam, it is Krishna in Panchtattvakam. He is Bhakta Rupa, Savarupakam, Bhakta Avataram, Bhakta Akham, Bhakta Shaktikam. So is Krishna with all this expanded ladder. Please get to know Panch Tattva. Then you won't worry about who said this, whatever. You're now in your present deciding, I'm tasting this Krishna prema. That's parodharmo. Savai pumsang parodharmo. Yato bhakti radokshaja ahitukiya pratyata yayatma suprasidati. So that's why even after writing Mahabharata, Vyasadeva was still thinking, I'm not feeling complete happiness. Then Bhagavatam came. And it's amazing how Krishna starts, this Leela, starts by Ashvatthama killing. So, you know, these are the miseries of life. But then it ends towards like 10th canto with Krishna Leela, Ras Krida and everything. And Prabhupada said, go systematically. Don't just jump to that. And even Gita is Krishna Leela, you know, we should read that as well. So, you know, the point is Krishna Prema. That's what Prabhupada gave actually. You know, the sadhana we are doing is to purify Cheto Darpan Marjanam. That is to purify the vessel. Once the vessel is clean now, what are you going to put in it? That's the question. It's no good carrying a mug which is very clean. So what are you drinking in it? You know, and what you put in it is this nectar which the Panch Tattva brought. Have that Radha Krishna, Pranamora, Jugala Kishore. So really, you got to work on it. It's not going to drop from the sky. You got to take the trouble, like Sukadev did trouble to read it, discuss it, and then also declare it. This is my Radha Krishna Pranamora, Jugala Kishore. And that's why there's Premai Bhakti, there's Bhav Bhakti, Premai Bhakti, you know all these topics. So then you'll admire how the Pandavas and all that, and Arjun, they were associating with Krishna. And when he left, Uddhav, he experienced the pain of the gopis when Krishna left Vrindavan. And then he also experienced the pain when Krishna left this planet and he has to stay behind. Can you imagine his pida, his pain? It's more than all this killing and everything. It's greater. Having tasted Krishna and then he goes, that's why this Bhagavatam is there. One of the question is, now Krishna has gone, where has Dharma taken shelter? And that is in Bhagavatam. So anyway, I'm just expanding on this and enjoying it, that Prabhupada gave us this amazing, amazing point of views to include it in your life and take the decision. This sadhu sangha is very important because this makes me grow, go forward. Otherwise, you think you know Bhagavad-Gita, you know Ramayana, you know Chaitanya or something, but you're not discussing it. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to discuss it and they'll be crying. They'll be crying. It was real to them, And we should do the same. And I really appreciate Narayan Keshavji for involving in this. I'm not expert on these things, but I relish this hard work of reading it first, then thanking you, then sharing it as well. I think everybody should do that. Please, you're only sharing. I'm not expert on it. If Vyasdevji, after writing all this Mahabharata and Vedas, were dissatisfied, who are we? So we should realize, oh my God, never do a little bit and be completely happy thinking, I think I've achieved great. Just realize, boy, it's a long journey. And those who have been to Badrinath, there is the Gufa cave at the top where Vyasdevji wrote the Mahabharata. And there's a Ganpati temple just nearby where Ganpati was writing, okay. And Saraswati River is there. And he told Saraswati, please be quiet, you're making noise. The river was making noise. Then he cursed it to you, go underground. And then he went underground. So when I went there, we were in the Gufa, and where Vyasdevji wrote it, and Premanji and I, my wife and I, we had malas in our hand. And that's Badrikashram. And there was other yatris as well. And the Brahman saw us and he told them, look at these two, they got malas on their hand. You just come as tourists. He said, do you know what this place is? This is Vyasdev's place, Nam Sankirtanam Yasya, the last verse of says, they're doing Kirtanam, And I still remember it. I thought, my God, Vyasdevji wrote here. I made that journey. I won't be making it again because you have to be healthy and fit there. But I was moved. And when I do meditation now, I meditate on Vyasdev's Gufa and thinking, we should visit those places. They're real. This is not imagined. Let the world say what they want to do. Mayapur exists, Vrindavan there, Nandagam is there, Raval is there, all this. Please go visit them, make his ownership of it, and you'll see how much happy you'll feel in your life every day, Okay, I've overdone it.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you for your blessings. Thank you for your mercy. And I want to say Dandus Pranam to Mataji, Premandri Manjari Mataji as well. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you for giving your association today. And Guru Sevak Prabhu, I think he was there early on. And so thank you. And thank you all so much, everybody, for joining today. Can we now unmute and give 3 Hari Bols to Prabhuji, please?
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare
Haribol, Haribol.
Haribol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, I would just like to speak something about Haridas Prabhu quickly, just in 2 minutes. I've seen, I was listening to the class, and Haridas Prabhu is so humble. And he's always saying that I'm not so scholarly, I'm not expert. But I, being related to both the yatras, being so fortunate, I was introduced in Birmingham, and now I'm serving in Coventry Temple under the guidance of Vidya Prabhu and Haridas Prabhu. And I know that he's so compassionate, he's so fatherly, and he's so supportive that whatever we know and whatever we are doing, whatever we are able to serve right now is all under the guidance of Haridas Prabhu and Vidya Prabhu. They are so supportive. They are really blessing, and I'm really blessed to be in this yatra. And I was just amazed that Haridas Prabhu is so humble that he's saying all this. That I'm not so scholarly, but I know personally that he's. I mean, he knows to the extreme of all the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and Bhagavad-Gita. And thank you so much, Haridas Prabhu. That was really
Thank you for the kind words, but there's so many in the yatra, and your Guru Maharaj is such brilliant Acharya. I got